Yeah.
So,
um,
you done the dubstep version of the Wheels on the Bus?
Yes.
have we?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
One of many.
we have. Dear Dr. Will, if life had gone different after Next Generation and you would have become a big Hollywood actor, do you think you would have had the same interaction with your fans and geek culture in general?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think that there are, there's sort of a career and a life trajectory, and mine was really different, and I'm really happy with the way that it led me to where I am today. One of the main reasons I talked about this in my book Just a Geek, and I've discussed this sort of when I've done some public speaking, but one of the big reasons that I went to work for New Tech in the Midwest when I was 18, and had just left Star Trek was because I kind of felt this thing starting in me where I was sort of like I was kind of getting like involved in the lame bullshit of Hollywood. I was never, I was always a real geek at heart. So I was never like going to parties. I was never like, engaged in all of the like risky behavior that kind of, that ruined Corey Feldman's life and claimed River Phoenix's life. Like that was never part of my life. But that like, I don't know, I felt that like, don't you know who I am kind of thing starting to well up inside of me when I was around that age. And it appalled me. And it was really, and I thought there's something really wrong with me. And I remember writing in a diary at the time. A diary is kind of like a blog before a blog existed and no one reads it but you, which is sort of like a blog today, except it was in a book. And I wrote down that I was looking in the mirror and I didn't like the person that I saw. And I felt like I needed to get away from everything that I had known and the industry that I was in and kind of figure out what was really important to me. And in doing that, I sort of pulled all the momentum out of my acting career, which had me on a trajectory that was, I don't know if I would have been like a big super mega star, but I was definitely on my way to being a successful, steadily employed actor. And then it sort of pulled me in a different direction. And then when I worked all of that stuff out, I figured out that I really loved being an actor. I really loved being creative. I came back to LA. I went to acting school. I was in a 5-year drama program. And then I met my wife and my future kids. And those things fundamentally changed my life and really made me the person that I am today. So I'm, I think that, there's people who really believe their own hype. And if my career had gone in a different way, I think it's really possible that I would have been one of those people. But going the way that I did go, working on my craft as an actor, and then working on being a husband and father, it just sort of keeps my feet on the ground. And it also helps a lot, I think, that like nerds are awesome. We can all get together and play games. When I go to game cons and I sit down to play games, I'll play with people for 3 hours. And then when it's done, and no one will be weird to me at all. And then when it's done, someone will say, oh, by the way, I like this thing that you did. Instead of it being like, oh, you're that guy from TV and now we're going to be weird. And I think that just because we are all really normal people in our weird, nerdy way, as opposed to those like, people who are like fans of reality TV or whatever, it makes me feel welcomed and embraced, and it just makes it easy for me to feel like, yeah, I can hang out.
Awesome. Speaking of reality TV, if Dancing with the Stars gave you a call today, would you say yes or no?
I would say no.
Good answer. you made one person here very good.
It's so weird. I don't know what it is about that show. People viewers are crazy about it, and viewers I would really love to see you on this show. But within the business side of the entertainment industry, it's sort of like, well, you may as well just admit that your career's over, and it does not appeal to me at all. And I don't, look, for people who really love that show, awesome, good for you. I'm glad you enjoy it. But it is not right for me at all.
All This gentleman's wife would like to know, was it strange playing a rapist in Criminal Minds?
Super strange.
Yeah.
Really, it was, yeah, that was unbelievably challenging. Um, Robin Lively played the girl who was my victim, and Robin and I have known each other since we were kids. And everybody who knew her when we were younger had a huge crush on her, myself included. And it was really weird and really uncomfortable. I wrote, you can go to my blog and find the Criminal Minds production diary, or you can buy it in my book, Sunken Treasure. I wrote all about this. I wrote all about the experience of creating that character and how uncomfortable and weird it was. No matter what show I am working on, there is a little piece of a character who lives in me the whole time I'm working on the show. And I can't let that go completely until the show is over. And on Criminal Minds, there was just a little bit of that dark evil that stayed with me. And you know, it's sort of like it was sort of like a hot coal that I kept in a bag that I would blow into fire when I would go onto the set, and I could not wait to take that hot coal and just dump it in a well and never look at it again.
All right. Dear Will, I'm lucky enough to have one of your PAX 2009 chapbooks, and I was wondering if you ever planned to continue The Day After. It's one of the best zombie stories I've ever read, and I would love more.
That's extremely kind. Thank you. A lot of people have asked me to extend The Day After. A lot of people have asked me to extend Hunter. And I never intended to extend them when I wrote them. I mean, they're just where they are. They are intended to be slightly unresolved at the end so that maybe they continue on in the reader's mind. They're both stories where the characters are unresolved, so I thought that the arc of the story should remain unresolved. I don't really know what I would do with The Day After. It's something that I've thought of because so many people have asked me to do it, which is really, which makes me feel really good because I was scared to death to publish that story because I just thought, man, it's one thing to tell stories about my real life, and it's another thing to like make a story up and like take a chance and put it out there. And you know, I wrote on my blog last week, every time I do it, I'm afraid that like I can hear Carrie's mom in my head going, "They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you," and it's really gratifying to me that so many people liked it. I don't have any plans right now to extend it, but so many people have asked me to that. Every now and then my mind kind of wanders and I think, well, maybe I could do this.
All right. Okay, I got a couple more short questions and I'll let you get back to your wacky November Thanksgiving.
I know, isn't that weird?
Weird. What's up with that? What are your favorite games to play if you only have 15 minutes?
Dungeon Raid, Ascension, Button Men if I'm playing with my son. And like back in the old days, I could always count on a quick game of like RC Pro-Am or NHL 94, you know, with 5-minute periods.
Yeah. NHL 94 was the best NHL too. That one was...
Okay, so I found a store. I went with, after, when I was doing my looping for Eureka on Tuesday when I was supposed to call in, Felicia was looping right before me. So I only had 2 lines. So she said, I'll just hang out and then we can, like, because we haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks. So I said, yeah, just hang out. I'll do my 2 lines and then, you know, we'll catch up on everything. So I did my 2 lines. I came out and she said, hey, Sean Becker and I are going to this store in the Valley called Game Dude. And I said, ooh, Game Dude, what's that? And she said, it's like a warehouse full of classic video games. It's Genesis games, Master System, Neo Geo, Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, and then modern games as well. And I was so excited that, of course, I went. And they sell all of these old consoles that have been refurbished, that work, and then they sell all the games. And one of the most expensive games, and as far as I could tell, the most expensive sports title was NHL 94, because that's the one that everybody wants to play.
It's legit.
In fact, I almost spent $80 on an old Sega Genesis so that I could buy it and get NHL 94 and just play it by myself.
How much were they selling NHL 94 for?
The Genesis version was pretty inexpensive. It was only like $4. But a lot of the games on like Nintendo were really expensive because I guess they're highly prized by collectors. But they were selling, for some reason, they were selling NHL 97 on Genesis, which is okay, but it's not as good as 94, for like $15. And keep in mind that the average price of a game in this place is like 50 to 75 cents.
I was like, because if you were gonna say like a couple $100, I was like, man, I think I got NHL 94.
Yeah. Dear Dr. Wheaton, I've always wanted to know if the Star Trek The Next Generation cast still meets at times, and how your relationship, or was as it might be, with each other is.
We get together. We get together at least once a year. Somebody has a dinner. Usually it's LeVar. We see each other at conventions. We talk via email and on the phone, and we're as close and as important to each other as we ever were. You know, I said to Jonathan when like years ago, you know, I said, listen, the way I remember it, like we're all really good friends and we all really loved each other and we were really like a family. Is that true? Like, is that really the way that we were? And he said, yeah, it really was. It was very much like catching lightning in a bottle. And I don't know of any other casts that worked together almost 25 years ago who still get together, who still care about each other, who still talk all the time. Just not because like, oh, there's a reunion thing we have to go to, but because we genuinely like each other. And it's weird for me too, because they just, you know, like they're already all adults, but I actually changed from being a kid growing into an adult. So my whole perspective on things is really different. And what's great is we can get together and I can ask about things from when we were doing the show because, you know, I see things through the eyes of a teenager and I can get a more objective, different perspective on things from them.
Awesome. All right, to finish us off, who is your doctor?
That's a tough one, man. Like, I think your doctor. Oh, by the way, this is my cat, my son's cat, Luna. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi, I'm a cat, and I'm coming in here and walking around all over the table. And pretty soon, if you put your fingers on the keyboard, I'm going to walk all over them, too. That's what I do, because I'm a cat.
Well, you can make a lot of money off that talking cat.
That was like one of your tweets come to life. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was hoping Seamus would come in here so everyone could see the adorability that is my dog, but he is zonked out on the couch and not even remotely interested in getting up. So here's what I think about like your doctor. Your doctor is always the first doctor that you see. You can't help it. That's the doctor who like introduces you to Doctor Who, and he's that guy that carries you through all of the different stories. So for me, my doctor would be Tom Baker, because I started watching Doctor Who on PBS when I wasn't even 10 years old, and it was weird, and it scared me. Because it was like, you know, back in those days, kids, we would have this thing called UHF, and it was an antenna that sat on top of your television, and it never really came in very well, and it was always kind of fuzzy and strange, and it added this element of like weirdness to anything that you watched on UHF. So like Doctor Who, Dark Shadows, The Prisoner, those are all like British shows that I would watch on UHF, and it terrified me. Having said all of that, and having sworn fealty to Tom Baker, Tennant's my favorite. I think a lot of that has to do with the writing of a lot of the episodes that he was in, and I absolutely love Matt Smith's take on the character as well. It's kind of like, you know, there's so many things that we nerds get into holy wars about.